Joe Buck.
Ta-da! Here I am.
Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. How have you been?
I'm doing good. You know, it's fun being down here in spring training when you've got a legitimate chance to win, and it's fun to watch a team come together, and you know, it kind of gives you, everybody involved, a little lift when you realize, you look around, hey, we're not that bad, and you start thinking about the division, and you realize, hey, they're pretty bad. So, you know, it makes it fun down here, and you just can't wait for opening day to come.
Because it wasn't like that last year. You had a feeling that it could be, but you didn't know.
I don't think we had this good of a feel about it. You know, and who would have imagined that McGuire plays half a season, and you know, you have injuries that hit this ball club, and Morris wasn't as usable as they thought he would be, and Alan Bennis wasn't basically available. He was there, but he wasn't. I think I was going to pitch this year. He wasn't right. And yet the Cardinals still win the division, and they end up, you know, in the NLCS. So the best laid plans don't always work out, but going in, I think the Cardinals are better than they were last year.
We saw Matt Morris yesterday. I think he looked great. 8 strikeouts, 5 1/3. Is he? I mean, is he ready? Is he ready to go?
I think of all the guys we've got, I think, and I don't know that anybody else agrees with me, especially Tony or Dave Duncan. But if I had to win a game, I'd put him on the mound.
Yeah.
And I forget everybody else. And there's a lot of good everybody else. Dustin Hermanson looks great. Darryl Kyle won 20 games, and he's going to always hold you in the ball game. But as far as raw stuff and guts and the kind of guy that you want out there, Matt Morris would be my pick.
What we're taping this the day Ankiel pitches against the Expos, so we don't know how he's going to do. Either or, because as we said, we don't know what he's going to do. If today is bad, what do you think happens? If today is good, what do you think happens?
I think if today's good, I think they build toward being on the ball club and on the roster when opening day hits. If he's bad, I think you start looking at plan B, which is to have him stay down here and try to iron things out in Florida. And, you know, I think you can get way too hung up on what happens the first month, the first 2 months of the season. If he can get things ironed out down here, fine. There's no rush. And the Cardinals have other guys that can pitch. I mean, Chad Hutchinson's looked great. Alan Bennis looks like he's finally regaining his form, and Garrett Stevenson's a guy that we haven't even thought about. Now he's going to pitch today too. So this is a big day for the Cardinals as we tape this. You know, who knows what's going to happen, but you got a lot of Scribinis playing today to try to make the bench roster, and you've got 2 pitchers that you don't know what they're going to show you, Stevenson and Ankiel. So this is a day that Tony La Russa hold his breath, and it's either going to be a wonderful day or it's going to be a really bad day.
Scribinis.
Scribinis.
That sounds like a Fox Network kind of.
It is. We're trying to reintroduce that word into the American language.
That's a good word. That's something I don't think any team, when you look around, if these guys are healthy and good, you could have 7, 8 starting pitchers, and that's good for Jocketty because then he can start wheeling and dealing. We know what he can do. And
that's not even talking about some of the young guys like Bud Smith, who I don't know if you've seen him pitch or not, but you don't need to know anything about sports or baseball to watch a guy and compare him to others and see how free and easy and how fluid, and he's got good stuff. You can see it first 5 pitches he throws. So you've got him, you've got Clint Weibel, a young guy that they love. There are some other options. So they are pretty well stocked in this era of thin pitching. So they're in a good position there. If things don't work out with Ankiel, and this is a 21-year-old guy who's had a million things hit him in his life, and I really like him. He's a strong kid, and it's odd for me to see a guy who's so mentally tough because of the hand that life's dealt him so far to struggle like this. But I have a feeling that he'll get over it. It might not be today, and it might not be this year, but he'll get over it. And he's got time to get over it.
The Scribinis, as you called them, I guess would be. You don't want to call scrubs, but John Mabry, Bonilla, Gilkey. I mean, these guys have had pretty good springs, Bonilla and Mabry especially.
I'm shocked at how good Bonilla looks. And when they signed him, I thought, you know, not only is he obviously on the downside, but you get a lot of strings attached with him, and he's had a very long track record of problems. And I think finally, because of his year last year with Atlanta, he has accepted the fact that he is a bench player. And if he's a bench player, he's a switch-hitting bench player that can play all over the place and can hit the ball out of the park. And those guys are hard to find. He's in good shape, not like he was 2 years ago with the Mets when he was really heavy. And he's in a good spot. I mean, he can't even pick a fight if he wanted to. There's nobody down there to, media-wise, it's going to bug him. So he's just going about his business, and he's been great. And he's actually been a good influence on some of the younger guys. So there is something to be said. I think it gets blown out of proportion sometimes about the St. Louis feel and the Cardinals and how, guys want to play here. But for people like that, I think it's really going to work to his advantage.
Who do you? I mean, the position players are pretty much set, but third base is still everybody out talks about it, and it just seems like Paquette's name always comes up.
Paquette's name comes up.
I've heard you talk about Polanco, though, and I think I agree with you. That guy hits.
The guy hits. The guy puts the bat on the ball. The guy catches the ball. There's nothing that he does that any one of the three of us, and my dad or Mike or myself, that we don't like. I mean, but he's so good off the bench, and he's so valuable in the pinch. If you need to get a guy home, or if you need a hit and run guy, or guy to drop down a bunt, that he's hard to start because you can have him waiting for that right situation. That being said, I think Albert Pujols has a very good chance of making this team.
As a starter?
As a starter. He's not going to make this team and sit. So he's either going to be in this lineup, either in left field as a pretty legitimate, most everyday player, depending on how Ray plays, or he's going to be at third base. And he has done nothing to hurt himself down here. Everybody loves him. They love his work ethic. He's 21, but he has this feel about him that he's been here before. He's just very relaxed. And they have fallen in love with him, and it would not shock me to see him on this ball club.
That's Joe Buck saying that. That's a very big endorsement.
Talking to Tony La Russa and other guys, it's not my endorsement, it's theirs.
I've talked to you a few times over the years of doing this for 8 years now. I don't know if you knew that. You were in Louisville when we started.
I didn't know that. I do know that one of my favorite pieces of video in the history of the world is Johnny Bench.
That's mine too.
It's great.
It's fun.
It's great.
What did you think of that interview? If I could kind of, was it my fault?
No, okay. But you have to know the history of it.
And I knew that. I knew there was some problems.
Right.
But I wanted to see what he would say. And
he asked a question that everybody asked him, and he just, he had that reaction, and I thought it was great. I thought it was, there's nothing wrong with him not trying to BS you, and there's nothing wrong with you asking the question. So I think more interviews ought to go like that. It might be awkward. I'm not talking about Jim Rome and Chrissy Everett kind of stuff where you're provoking him, but you asked him a question, and he got upset, so big deal. So you move on, but it was fun to watch.
The best part is when he rolls his eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe you create some of that. How can I anger you? No.
Ask me what it's like to be Jack Buck's son. Ask me about nepotism. No,
you get a lot. I guess you get that probably every day still.
I hear it, but I mean, I'd be a moron to think that I'd be sitting here if I wasn't Jack Buck's son. I started when I was 20 doing the Cardinal games, and people would kill for that. And the only reason I got it was because of my name. Now, I've tried to do a lot with it, and I've moved on from that aspect of my career, and I do other things, but it doesn't bother me at all. And in fact, I love working with him, and I would rather work with him than anybody else in the world. I learned so much from him. We've made up for a lot of lost time when I was a kid, and he was traveling all over the place. So it's great. And if you have to deal with, "Oh, I know how you got the job," fine. I don't care about that.
Yeah, I guess in St. Louis, it's not that. Is it? I mean, St. Louis, I think everybody's dealt with it, and we know that that you're Fox Television. Great announcer. You don't need to hear all that, but
it's died out, and really on a national level, it doesn't happen hardly at all because St. Louis is so small-minded in a good sense, I think, and it's very tight-knit, and it's a community that I think takes care of its own, and when there's an outsider in there, it's tough for them to break in. But I was in a unique situation, and I think I was a little nuts to think that it would go smoothly at the start, because it's only human nature to see a guy get a break and think, why can't that be me, or what a joke, here I am busting my tail and I can't get that kind of a break. But you know what, hang with him, and it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I've thought that, but you're so much better, so.
That's not true,
You're very good. I mean, but the thing about what you do with baseball game, as a fan, is you keep it fun and light, and it's not Mr. Announcer standing here with a microphone, and I assume that you practice that, and you know that that's your style.
Well, my style is I try to do a game the way I would want to listen to it, and I don't think any announcer is bigger than the game, and I think a lot of announcers take themselves to be bigger than the game. Like anybody's saying, oh, where's Joe Buck broadcasting today? I want to watch that game. They could care less who's doing the game. If they want to watch the Yankees, they'll watch the Yankees. The only thing I can do is make them turn the sound down. So I don't try to beat people over the head with everything I know. I just try to have fun. And, you know, I don't know if I succeed in that, but I learned that from my dad. He has no ego. He's the nicest guy in the world, and he has every reason to be a jerk, and he's not. So if he's not, I have no reason to be.
How is he?
He's doing great.
See him every day. I know he loves doing this. He gets to come to spring training. I mean,
this keeps him young. You know, he's in the clubhouse and he's listening to Nelly CDs. There aren't a lot of 76-year-olds that are banging the table to the beat of any of that kind of music. And you know, he was sitting in Tony La Russa's office today with the manager for NSYNC and Britney Spears talking about those people. So this keeps his blood flowing and keeps him going, and I think it's great. And the Cardinal owners have been good to him, and that they've said whatever you want to do. If you want to do one game a year, if you want to do 162 games a year, you're welcome to do it. So he's in a perfect situation. They realize his worth to this organization. He's helping them try to build a new ballpark, at least put his stamp on it and putting his reputation on it. So they pay him back with that, and I think it's a good situation for him.
I know you got a ball game to do here in a second, I guess, on the radio. You have said that you would like to maybe get out of baseball and do some entertainment stuff. Any offers? Are you still in that mode?
Well, I think for the next handful of years, 5 or 6 years, I think I'm going to stay sports, and I may for the next 50 years. I just don't see myself doing the long broadcast career. Only because I don't want to be away from my family that much. And, you know, I had it on the other end as a kid, and my kids are the most important thing to me. And, you know, you hear that, and I mean it. And it kills me to walk out the door and to hear things are going on when I'm not there. And none of this stuff is worth it if I have to give all that up. So I have to make money, but after I make enough, I'm going to change gears and may not totally get out of it, but it'll be severely cut down.
You're going to continue to do fishing on Fox, though?
If I ever do fishing on Fox, I will blow the whistle, and I will dunk myself into the nearest lake and never come out of it, because that was the biggest joke.
That was fun. That was fun.
We pulled it off.
I tuned in to watch you do fishing, actually.
It was a 90-minute show, and I knew 90 minutes worth of fishing. If it was a 91-minute show, it would have been a minute of dead air. I faked that bigger than anything, and but that's kind of the Fox way, and I like that. You know, I've done Robbie Knievel jumping over limos on national TV live at night, and I've done bass fishing live, which, you know, had they done it right, if Fox wanted to put cameras under the boats and see these fish biting the lures and do all that, but the fishing world didn't want that because they thought it would bother the integrity of the sport. So basically, it's guys sitting there on the end of a boat doing nothing, and that really isn't too exciting to most of the country.
Well, it was fun to watch you handle it.
Yeah, you were waiting for me. You were waiting for a train wreck.
I was waiting for you to snap. Yes, I was. Well, I appreciate all the time you've given us in the years, and it's been fun to watch you do your stuff. Thanks.
Well, I started to go down this road earlier. You work as hard or harder than I do. You do a great job, and I enjoy catching your show. So thanks.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. We'll take a break. We'll be